Welcome to the Sunflower State, Kansas, where the skies stretch forever. And sometimes, so do the stories. They call it Tornado Alley, and for good reason. Kansas averages about 90 twisters a year. It's like Mother Nature's way of saying, surprise? But Kansas isn't just wind and wheat. It's also home to the exact center of the 48 United States, marked by a quiet monument in Smith County. Stand there long enough, and you can brag you've been everywhere and nowhere at the same time. The state motto? Ad astra per aspera. To the stars through difficulties. And that's fitting for a place where meteorites rain down more than almost anywhere else in America. If you're hunting space rocks, Kansas might just be your cosmic jackpot. Kansas also gave us Dodge City, once the wildest cowtown in the West. It was so rough that the phrase, "get out of Dodge," was born here. And speaking of Kansas legends, the first Pizza Hut fired up in Wichita. Because after a long day on the prairie, apparently what farmers really wanted was pepperoni. If you like roadside weirdness, you're in luck. Cawker City proudly guards the world's largest ball of twine, proving boredom can be highly productive. Just outside Topeka, you'll find Truckhenge, pickup trucks standing upright like Stonehenge. And then there's Johnny Caw, Kansas's own Paul Bunyan, said to have invented wheat, tamed tornadoes, and maybe even Kansas humility. Of course, no Kansas story would be complete without Dorothy and Toto. And when Dorothy said, "We're not in Kansas anymore," every Kansan probably nodded and said, "Lucky you, kid," but send back the dog. Still, Kansas isn't all sunshine and scarecrows. There are ghost lights that flicker along the old rail beds, haunted farmhouses that whisper when the wind dies down, and stories of things that walk the plains when even the coyotes go silent. So buckle up, travelers, because tonight, we ride Kansas's Paranormal Highway.
The truth is out there, and it begins with you. Welcome to the Cosmic Fold, where we talk high strangeness. Call us at 928-288-2942. That's 928-288-2942. Or join us by video. If you're at a computer, just look for the link in the chat. Buckle up, sit around our virtual campfire, and let's get started.
In the summer of 1897, a small black neighborhood in Kansas woke up to something they could not explain. They called it the Hobgoblin in the Bottoms. And what makes this story so strange is that it didn't happen at night. It happened in broad daylight. It was a quiet, humid afternoon on South Sycamore Street. Two children were playing inside the McLeod home. The air was still. The only sound was the squeak of a toy and the rustle of a curtain. Then the bed moved. At first they thought maybe it was a trick of the light. But no. Something was rising from the sheets. It had the shape of a man, but it wasn't human. The children froze, because where its head should have been, there was nothing, and in its chest were two enormous glowing eyes. They screamed, dove under the bed, and the room fell silent again. Their mother came running. She rushed through the doorway, and there it was, a headless figure, dressed in overalls and a colored shirt, two horns curving from its shoulders. And where the head should have been, fire, living fire, shooting from the neck like the chimney of hell itself. The creature raised its arms as if warning her to leave. She fainted in the doorway. Neighbors came running. And soon, the entire block was gathered outside the house. People armed themselves with whatever they could find. Sticks, tools, lanterns, pistols. Everyone waited. The house was quiet. Then, a crash from above. The loft door had fallen, and the ghost was gone. When police searched the house, they found no tracks, no ashes, no signs of entry. Only the smell of smoke lingering in the rafters. By morning, the entire community looked pale and shaken. No one had slept. Some said it was a warning, a calamity waiting to fall upon their people. Others swore it was something worse, a curse tied to that very house. A few of the elders began to whisper a name. Will Ashbury. Years earlier, He'd lived in that same house. Until one night, a Missouri Pacific train struck him down near the water tank. They said he died instantly, but his spirit hadn't rested. Now the townsfolk believed he'd come back, burning with the fire that killed him, wandering headless through the house where he once slept. Over a century later, no one ever solved what really happened on South Sycamore Street. There was no trick, no confession, no rational explanation, just a headline and a memory. But locals say that if you walk there on a still summer night and look toward the windows of the old McLeod house, you might see two eyes glowing from the dark, not in the sky, not on the porch, but from the chest of a man who no longer has a head. The Headless Hobgoblin of Sycamore Street, based on true events, reported July 20th, 1897.
Hey.
1897 high.
Yep. So, that was the video. Sorry, we're late tonight. It took just hours and hours for that little thing to render, to upload. But Al supposedly will be joining us later. We'll see. But in the meantime, Bove has tested out her reading skills, so she gets to do it again tonight. Oh, but we finally got out of Iowa. It was like something about that was making my internet not work at all. So, hopefully tonight it will work. So, did you do anything? Did you have trick-or-treaters last night, Bove?
Not a one. Not a single one. I usually don't. Been here 31 years. There may have been 4 or 5 years where we had 1 or 3 trick-or-treaters.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think that's they do something out here called trunk or treat.
Yeah, here too.
And they have it at the city park, so it's a little safer, and the kids are supervised and get, know, kind of a public thing. Well, you ready to start riding the Paranormal Highway?
Indeed I am.
Well, it's easy words tonight, so.
No, I'm sure there's a Lulu in there somewhere. Let's start with...
Hey. There he is.
In
his new digs.
Yeah, man. I'm having some lighting issues here.
Oh, that ghost followed you.
Trying to get a good, does that look all right?
Yeah, you look great. You and Bove are in the same colors tonight.
Oh, yeah.
So what we're doing, Al, is we're on the first stretch of the Paranormal Highway through Kansas and looking at some haunted places out there.
Nice.
Very nice. All right. So either one of you, whoever wants to try to read it, go for it.
Well, let's start out with Stoll Cemetery. High credibility. Whittage. Supported by tourism boards, historical records, and consistent reports.
Now, what that is for these like high and medium credibilities, I have AI go through and see who talks about them. So if it comes from a city website or something like that, it's probably a little bit more credible, or especially historic records. So that's what that has to do with.
Makes sense. All right, let's go to Stoll Cemetery then. It's tucked into the sleepy farmland near Lawrence, Kansas. It's earned a reputation wildly out of proportion to its tiny size. For decades, it's been branded the portal to hell. A place where witches once hung from gnarled trees. It's got to be a gnarled tree, though. You know?
Yes.
And the devil himself supposedly stopped by every Halloween to have a fiddle contest. No, that's the wrong state. To waltz with the freshly dead. Excuse me. Throw in a mysterious staircase to the underworld, a rain-free ruin, and even a papal no-fly zone. And you got all the markings of a Kansas horror movie with the cornfields for days and a dash of supernatural fame to keep the legend humming. A cornfield. Children of the corn. Don't go into the corn. The rats are his. Anyway.
That movie kind of freaked me out, Children of the Corn. I didn't
Oh my
like
God.
that.
Really?
I don't watch that shit.
You know,
Hell
look,
no.
you know, I don't scare easy, okay? And I am a really big fan of horror movies. That would freak me out. That would
Yeah, me too. I don't like the gory stuff either, kind of, but if they've got a good, like, psychological whatever, but that movie really freaked me out.
Oh my God, yeah, it was just ugh. Let's
Isn't
talk
that
about
a nice bridge?
I know, look at that. Nice segue. Nice bridge. The Thea Rosa's Bridge, very high credibility. Every fall, Kansas locals start swapping ghost stories, and a few are as stubbornly enduring as a legend of Thea Rosa's Bridge, a lonely crossing over Jester Creek, north of Valley Center. The tale goes that if you dare whisper, "Thea Rosa, I have your baby. Thea Rosa, I have your baby," the furious.
Then your lights are going to flash out.
A furious, ghostly mother will rise from the darkness and chase you down. Someone should hire her for ice. Some say she drowned her child. Others claim the baby, the Thea Rosa herself, is the baby. Historians, meanwhile, can't find a trace of anyone named Thea Rosa in the 1800s record, suggesting the story may be as spectral as the spirit herself. Still, facts have never stopped a good haunting. The bridge has burned down and been rebuilt over the years, but the legend keeps coming back, stronger than ever, drawing midnight thrill seekers and ghost hunters eager for a glimpse of Kansas's most famously unconfirmed phantom. Whether she's real or not, Thea Rosa's Bridge proves that sometimes the scariest thing on a quiet country road is our own imagination.
And NPR did a big thing about that. So
Yeah.
it must be a big thing where people go and, tell the story, whisper Thea Rosa, I
Right.
got your baby.
Thea Rosa.
So
That's just creepy. That is just wrong. It's perfect.
I have your
No.
baby.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, look, the lights. I'm sorry, I had to do that. The Wolf Hotel, another high credibility story. Check this out. If you like your history served with the side of haunting, the historic Wolf Hotel in Ellenwood is the place to stay. Built in the 1890s above a maze of old underground tunnels once used by cowboys, gamblers, and gentlemen sneaking to hidden saloons and brothels. The hotel has plenty of ghostly gossip built right into its walls. Guests have reported the laughter of someone. Jay just threw a gummy at me. Is that a hint?
I thought it was a ghost blob.
Ghost gummy. Well, it takes an hour to really get up there. Guests have reported the laughter of a playful young girl sprinting through the halls and bouncing on beds, along with the mischievous male spirit who seems to enjoy testing people's nerves. It sounds like some ex-husbands. Anyway, the rooms are lovingly restored to reflect the late 1800s and early 1900s, but the ambiance isn't just antique. It's alive with whispers from the past. Whether you come for the history, the hidden tunnels, or the occasional spectral roommate, the Wolf Hotel proves that some guests never really check out.
Oh, no.
And that picture comes from the hotel's website.
That is cool.
And the website shows the whole thing, and it's a beautiful building.
Yeah.
Very pretty rooms and stuff, so you could stay there and I guess ghost hunt too. So this is the famous one from Kansas.
Sally House. The Sally House is in Atchison, Kansas, a former doctor's home allegedly haunted by the spirit of a young girl. Featured on Sightings and BuzzFeed Unsolved. Wow, that's
All right. So rather than reinventing the wheel, I put a video in that tells the whole story. Then I've got some comments about this one afterwards.
I guess play the clip.
Yep,
Right?
here we
Is there a
go.
clip?
In the 19th century, the small town of Atchison, Kansas, fell victim to an unfortunate tragedy. A young girl named Sally was being rushed to her doctor's house by her mother. Sally was a frail, pale-skinned child. She had wide brown eyes and stood just under 5 feet tall. Sally and her mother rushed into the doctor's house, where he guided Sally down an ill-lit hallway to the examination room. The examination room was located on the first floor of the house, where you would typically find a dining room. After a quick examination of the young girl, the doctor determined that the shooting pain Sally felt was due to her appendix getting ready to rupture. He laid Sally down on the cold steel operating table in the room and unrolled his cloth of sterile surgical tools. He reached for a syringe and a small bottle of anesthesia that he would inject into Sally prior to performing the surgery. At this point, Sally's pain had intensified. The doctor could tell that there wasn't much time to remove the appendix. Normally, after administering anesthesia, you would wait for a period of time to allow the medicine to take effect. However, in this case, the doctor was frantically scrambling to get his tools ready to operate. He fastened the young girl to the table to prevent her from pushing and kicking him during the surgery, all the while her pain increased. The doctor took a deep breath and steadily made an incision on Sally's side. The young girl screamed out in tremendous pain. Due to the urgency of the situation, the doctor had to operate before the anesthesia had a chance to fully take effect. The pain from every push, pull, and slice was now coursing through the girl's body. She was living a torturous nightmare with no means of escape. As the doctor continued the operation, the pain overwhelmed Sally, causing her to fall unconscious from the relentless suffering she was enduring. She was never to wake from this state again. The extreme pounding of the heart as the body entered fight or flight mode had led to significant blood loss. The year was 1993, and a young couple poised to embark on the journey of starting a family had journeyed to the small town of Atchison in search of a new residence. Fatigued and a touch agitated from weeks of house tours, they finally discovered a place that resonated with them. The Sally House, as it's now known, presented itself as a quaint abode, offering all the amenities a new family could desire. As the family began to settle into their newfound home, an undercurrent of unease began to weave its way into their daily lives. For the father, it started innocuously, a sporadic, unsettling feeling, a shiver that occasionally permeated the air, raising the hair on his arms and legs. Nothing that warranted a second thought until these innocent suspicions morphed into something darker and unexplainable. First, the fires ignited. The father meticulously scrutinized every outlet and electrical connection, yet his efforts were in vain. Puzzled, he scratched his head, unable to pinpoint the source of these sporadic blazes. The couple repeatedly summoned the fire department to probe the origin of these outbreaks, but the firefighters were confounded. The fires seemed to spring up spontaneously. Then, scratches manifested on the father's body. One night, as he went about his customary bedtime routine, he noticed a series of small scratches running down his left arm. Already burdened by anxiety from the inexplicable fires that had plagued them, he couldn't shake the conviction that there was something more sinister about these scratches than mere accidents. In the ensuing weeks, more scratches materialized. However, these were not the superficial marks he had previously experienced. They were etched deep into his skin, inflicting pain. Much like the fires, they appeared out of nowhere. As weeks turned into a continuous cycle of dread, the couple's apprehensions about their living situation grew. Their fervent desire to leave the house was met with the harsh reality of their circumstances. They were trapped, ensnared in an environment that bred ceaseless anxiety. The mounting dread correlated with a surge in inexplicable events. Inanimate objects within the house began to adopt a life of their own. Chairs slid across the floor, moved by unseen forces. Books and trinkets rearranged themselves into otherworldly patterns, and the father's belongings seemed to migrate to peculiar locations. He found himself immobilized by disbelief at the surreal phenomenon unraveling before him. Chilling pockets of cold air materialized, particularly in the dining room where the family had shared countless meals. Amidst room temperature air, these frigid zones emerged, defying explanation. Searching for a rational cause, the father was confronted once more by the unexplainable. The source of the cold seemed to defy reason, arising spontaneously. For the young couple, these occurrences became the tipping point. Encumbered by a sense of dread and anxiety that affected their well-being, they reached a painful decision: to move on. Sleepless nights and constant apprehension stemming from an oppressive, malevolent presence had taken an immense toll. It was time to leave, to break free from the clutches of a house tainted by inexplicable forces. The couple's fate after leaving the house remained shrouded in mystery, yet their accounts left an indelible enigma lingering within the house's walls, one that demanded further exploration. Subsequent years witnessed a slew of paranormal investigations, drawing in numerous witnesses who reported uncannily similar experiences. Reports abound of objects moving of their own accord, chilling encounters with icy breath, dramatic fluctuations in temperature, and the appearance of phantom scratches, all meticulously documented. The Sally House, ever enigmatic, retains its grip on the realm of paranormal fascination and investigation. Over time, the house has cemented its status as one of the most haunted locations in the United States, owing to the numerous accounts of paranormal encounters shared by those who have lived within its confines or dared to visit. Its history, marked by the tragic narrative of Sally's surgery, the haunting experiences of the young couple, and the compelling testimonies of witnesses, has woven an intricate tapestry of enigma and allure. The house's mystique has garnered attention through documentaries, dedicated paranormal investigations, and literary works. It has captivated the imagination of paranormal enthusiasts, inquisitive investigators, and those enticed by the allure of its undisclosed secrets.
That's cool.
So that's a
That
pretty
is
famous.
cool.
That's a cool story, man. That is awesome.
That's a
But one
nice
of the
looking
things,
house.
though, that there's no historical documentation that a girl had died there or anything,
Yeah.
which has led to people. Let's see. Here's what Joyce. I don't know that if that presence is Sally. That's what I was going to get into, Joy, and thank you for that comment, because we're going to go in Globe for this ghost hunting tour on the 15th. They're a professional group. They've been on TV and stuff, and she has gone out there, and she meaning Rita, that runs this whole thing, says, you know what, I don't think there's a little girl in there at all, but there is something. And she and her people picked up on some old lady in there, and that had lived there at one time. But what I think is that there's so many people that go in there and they're trying to stir stuff up, and half of it I think is fake, I mean, some of these videos I can barely even watch, where they're in there. But then again, there is something going on in that house. So when I was researching this, I saw in the real estate records that they had tried to sell it at one point for close to $1 million, and then kept dropping it. Well, then it's got this like paranormal thing to it. So finally, they just stopped trying to sell it, opened it up for ghost tours.
If they pay me, I'll pull them. You know what the first thing that came to my mind, the first couple of slides in that story, and this is only because I'm a musician, but it took several minutes to get that song Lay Down Sally out of my head. Because the narrator said they laid Sally down on the table, and I'm thinking, lay down Sally. It's like, oh, then I remember.
Now it's going to be going through my head.
That's great.
No,
Keith,
wonderful.
look.
That
Keith,
is,
look.
and more like, that's too much light. I'm trying to look ghostly here with the shadow.
I like your new office. It looks good.
Yeah, jar of fuckets.
I'm seriously just a 12-year-old in the 60s.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
But yeah, that was a cool story. That was a very cool story, Because it's got a certain amount of mystery,
Yeah,
to it, makes it even more intriguing, I think,
exactly. Keith likes your
Deborah.
toys there.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You know your
Deborah,
wife
is
loves you when
Al
she sends you little.
distorted to you?
What?
What?
Is Al coming through distorted
Am I coming
Yes, I
through?
thought it was my
audio?
headset.
Okay,
Yes.
is it the voice?
It's
It's
full of
like a
static.
background.
Hold on.
Yeah, I was sitting here adjusting my headset. I'm glad you. Okay, Joy says it is too. Thank you.
All right.
You're still doing it, Al.
Yeah, I need to go into. How bad is it?
It's real
It's
bad.
Okay, hold on. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let's see.
Gower Castle.
Yep. This was moderate credibility. How
Yeah.
you doing there, Al?
I don't know why it's bigger. How about that? Any better?
That's even worse.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. I think I might be too close to the microphone.
It was really good when we started.
I'm still doing that, right?
Yes.
Okay, hang on.
Bove, you want to take a shot at this one while he works on that?
Yeah, this one has a word in it, but it just so happens that I've figured it out. I've had time to look at it. Well, this here is an image of Sour Castle. And Sour Castle is a striking Italianate mansion built between 1871 and 1873 by architect Asa Beebe Cross.
Did you see that?
Proud-
Her comment. Al's noise is coming from Sally. Sally's screwing around with Al's microphone. Sorry to interrupt you there.
That's okay. That was good. Sits proudly on Shawnee Road in Kansas City, Kansas. Once home to German immigrant and businessman Anton Sauer and his family, the house is considered a local landmark. So much so that a Kansas City historian once called it the most famous residence in Kansas City, Kansas. Its ornate design and long history have made it a magnet for curiosity seekers, particularly those drawn by ghost stories and urban legends. Over the decades, tales of hauntings, hidden tunnels, and mysterious deaths have kept the Sour Castle's legend alive, even as its owner has worked quietly to preserve it. That owner, Carl G. Lopp, has made it clear that while he appreciates public fascination, he is deeply frustrated by the intrusion it brings. In a public post, Lopp said the constant stream of trespassers, vandalism, and social media fueled ghost hunts have caused significant harm to the property and those who care for it. He emphasized that the castle is not haunted, it's not collapsing, and not home to buried treasure or bodies. It's just private, structurally sound residence undergoing restoration. Lopp asked for respect and privacy, noting that the castle's true story is one of history and endurance, not horror, and he plans to publish a book one day to share the story in full. And that's from the Wikipedia and website down here at the bottom.
And you know what's sad about that? So where that website, this lady has researched a bunch of the old buildings, and then she's got the Facebook posts and everything, and this poor owner is just so frustrated because all these people keep breaking in to do ghost hunts. And like you said, the vandalism, they're trying to repair the place. And so I don't know what's going on now, but that's really bad that people go in there and just trash a place out like that, looking for ghosts. You know,
I
think
see
it's
like in. Go ahead.
Are you there, El? How do you sound now?
Can't
All right,
hear
now
you.
you're
You
mute.
sound great.
Let me unmute him. He muted.
You were muted.
It says your mic is not connected. That's this little thing popped up and said your mic is not connected. Still says it's not connected. That's weird. Well, let's do the next one.
The Brown Mansion.
Oh, now he's back.
Does that sound any better?
Oh,
way better.
yeah.
All right. Yeah, apparently I got a bad mic. I have two of these.
Well,
I got
welcome back.
So I just swapped.
You sounded like you were on Free Eye Atlas cruising through the cosmos.
I thought maybe it was the wine. Excuse me, the soda. The soda.
The soda.
Oh,
The
man.
Brown Mansion. This has moderate credibility. Great.
Joy says you sound great. I agree. You sound really good now.
I'm glad I had a mic to swap out. The Brown Mansion in Coffeyville may look like a stately relic of Kansas prosperity, but locals say it's also hosting one never-ending family reunion. Built in 1904, tragedy shadowed the Browns early on. Of their 5 children, only daughter Violet survived to adulthood. When her parents passed, Violet inherited the grand home and was often seen waltzing alone in its 3rd floor ballroom as the ghosts of her family were keeping her company. Ooh, I wonder if the new Trump ballroom will be haunted.
I was going to say ballroom is fighting words.
Wouldn't that be wonderful? Oh, anyway, even after her
It
death,
probably will be.
Even after
all
her
the
death,
presidents passed.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I got to write a screenplay for that. Even after her death, visitors claim Violet never stopped dancing. Witnesses report glimpsing her swirling through the ballroom, her parents roaming nearby, and a young Donald. I just can't. Who died at 11, playing upstairs as if the party never ended. There's even talk of the Brown servant still greeting guests at the door. The local historical society, which now owns the mansion, insists they have seen nothing unusual. But between the music, laughter, and the phantom footsteps, it sounds like the Browns are just too busy enjoying eternity to care who's watching. And you can find this on the website as Oh My Omaha.
And
Coffeyville.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that one you can rent, and ghost hunt and stuff, which is the way to do it, not destroying somebody's private property like that other place. But
what? Some more of this soda. All right. Old St. Mary Hospital. It's got moderate credibility. Manhattan, Kansas, better known as the Little Apple, is a lively college town packed with restaurants, bars, and campus charm. But tucked among the student hangouts is a building with a much stranger history. Once a YMCA, later a hospital. I don't know what I just spelled there, so sorry if I insulted anybody. Once a YMCA, later a hospital, and eventually a fraternity house. It's now remembered as the Old St. Mary Hospital, where 2 restless spirits reportedly still roam the halls. One was a nurse who tragically fell down an open elevator shaft, and the other, an elderly patient who quietly passed away wedged between his bed and the wall. Locals say the nurse's ghost remained for years, kind and calm, still tending to invisible patients along the hospital long after the hospital closed. When a fraternity moved in, she seemed to finally find peace and move on. The patient, however, simply known as George, apparently decided college life suited him. Now he's said to linger as a prank-loving frat brother, flickering lights, fixing clocks, and proving that in Manhattan, even ghosts can have a school spirit.
Yeah, that's kind of a place that people go in Manhattan, Kansas.
Yeah,
the Little Apple.
Little Apple.
Yep.
Oh my God.
And that's it. That's all I had time to do.
Well, there you have it. The haunted highlight.
You know what? Those were great, Deborah.
Yeah, they were, man.
I mean, the little Sally, the Sally house.
Yeah.
Once we saw the image of the whole house itself, that's a beautiful building.
Did it?
Yeah.
That was a really nice looking house, and I could see where it would be desirable to have. And so now what they're doing with it is just touring it.
Yep.
Okay, why not?
You
Right?
know, I saw
Yeah,
a
if it pays the
documentary where
mortgage.
the neighbors weren't very thrilled with this. You know, because some of these, I mean, some are legit ghost hunters, but then you have these other people that are just so ridiculous. I mean, oh, I got possessed by it and just stupid,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
But I
It
had seen
wasn't me
some.
that was doing 120 miles an hour through the school zone. It was the demon that is possessing me.
Exactly. But I had seen some documentaries on that place, and one of the things that bothered them, the tenants in the early 90s, was that they had a little daughter and something kept taking the toys, like little stuffed animals, and putting them in a circle in there. And then they would put the animals back, and then they'd go back in the room and these animals are back in a circle. But it was the fire stuff that really started to get to the guy, you know. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I were to come back and haunt somebody, I think I'd do it in a way like that. You know, I would just like move stuff around, like rearrange the furniture, put the dishes where the glasses are and the glasses where the coffee mugs are, and just to screw around a little bit. You know, I think that.
yeah.
I won't
Not
hurt
Helen
anybody.
Keller.
What?
I said it's not Helen Keller.
Well, speaking as someone who just moved into a new place last weekend, I have been walking into shit in the middle of the night.
Oh, it takes a while.
I haven't memorized where everything is.
So Joy brings up
Welcome
a
to your
good
new
point.
home.
Why don't they get a house energy cleaner? Then they could sell it.
Like the Roman agency.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a TV show, a series on Hulu that's called Surreal Estate. And
Yeah.
this group of real estate agents, they go around cleaning like spirits and stuff out of houses that they're trying to sell, but obviously they can't sell because there's mischievous spirits and they're just tossing shit all over the place. It's a pretty cool show.
But sometimes I think people want that mystique just to keep, you know, I mean, it's got to be paid off by now, I would think,
I
you
would
know,
think.
and it
Yeah.
generates income and whatever. But there's a lot in Kansas that we'll get into the second part of this. They have some kind of interesting UFO kind of stories out there and premonition stuff and what have you.
Yeah.
And of course, guess what cryptid shows up there?
Bigfoot.
Yeah. Not exactly a wave, but
I don't want. I shouldn't be doing this with my hands for Bigfoot, but I don't give.
just walk on your hands.
I don't give my feet pics away. Okay, ladies.
So
What
Keith
is
wants
a
to know
house
what
energy
what is a
cleaner?
house energy cleaner.
You remember Poltergeist, the little short Knoxbury Farm chick? This house.
Yep.
I mean, that's a yeah. That's what that is. They specialize in removing, whatever ails your house out of your house for however I don't.
This haunted house I lived in Dallas that was so awful. I called it Hell House. Finally, I got this woman that supposedly would clean a house like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she looked just like that little lady from the Poltergeist. And this was this place was it was a townhouse and it was in a gated community.
Mm-hmm.
And there was only one other unit that was occupied. There were like 40 of them. And that woman in there would scream like constantly. I could hear her screaming all the time. And I had just horrible stuff going on. But anyway, so I get this poltergeist lady, and she drove a shiny red Corvette, and she's a short little tiny thing, and she shows up. And then she starts trying to deal with it, and she goes, "This is just too much. This is too much for me." She goes, "I've never dealt with. I mean, it was awful. I had the University of Texas over. They had all this equipment. It's buzzing, which made it worse because then I knew there was legit something, not just my imagination." And so she ended up getting this guy that was a priest with the Church of England came.
Why not?
And
Oh wow.
so we did this thing to get, they did to get rid of it. The landlady came, and it turned out whatever was in there had killed the landlady's husband. The woman that lived in there before them looked just like me, and she went insane and was in a mental institution. It was awful. I had University of Tucson, actually, they wanted to do like a whole movie about that place because it was so bad. And you can look it up on real estate records now, and people last maybe 2 months in there. They never really quite got rid of all of it.
You know what's funny about these house cleaners, though? You'll get people, and it's skeptics everywhere, and I appreciate that, and I respect everyone's opinion. But cleaning a house of unfriendly spirits is not something that's just limited to the woo-woo crowd. Okay, if you look at every major religion, okay, you've got obviously you got Christians who put crosses up. You got the Jewish faith that puts the mezuzahs, the prayer things on their thing. You've got just about everybody in the pagan community with sage, or salt or whatever. But every major group has something in their writings to clean a house of malevolence, whether it be evil or whatever. So it's not really that far out there when you think of how many people have some sort of a faith that mixed in with that. There's always an anti, whether it's evil or good, bad, whatever. Unless you follow Nietzsche, that doesn't exist. But there's always some little gadget or doodad or whatever that's placed somewhere on a doorway or something that that's the purpose of that.
Yeah.
So
your mic is starting to go again.
Is it?
So it's got to be the connection.
Okay.
I'll
work on it tomorrow.
Yeah. So that was all I had, unless you guys have some comments.
Not anymore.
My comment was somebody hand Al a can of compressed air so you blast out your ports.
I got a can of compressed air.
That was my comment. Had nothing to do with the show.
I'm using. You know what? I'm actually using the Mac now. I've been using the PC. Maybe I'll go back.
Oh,
okay. I'll go back to the PC. I don't know.
So how did the move go? Are you guys all unpacked now?
Oh yeah, we're done. We're unpacked.
Looks like a nice place.
Yes, it's beautiful. It's a great place. It's in a gated community, so I don't have to worry about nefarious people.
Exactly.
Damage.
Well, you look a lot happier. You just look calmer.
Yeah.
So I'm happy.
Well, that old place was getting kind of sketchy. It was right on the highway. It was right by the airport. It was right by a major Six Flags amusement park. There's been an increase in gang activity, and you hear gunshots all the time. You find bullets in the parking lot. It wasn't a good.
No, that's no
Plus
good.
it had stairs, and I can't do stairs because I'm a crippled son of a bitch.
Well, good to have you back. We missed you. And Bove, thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
She's getting so good at reading these things. And to our audience that is here now and in the future coming in, we appreciate you watching. So do you guys want to do part 2 this coming Saturday, next Saturday? Because the weekend after that, I'm going to be on that ghost tour. So I will film as much of it as I can and share with y'all.
So I have to check with the Minister of Domestic Affairs to find out what my schedule is for next weekend. But I'm pretty sure I'm clear.
Okay, good.
Do hug her and tell her we said hello.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Keith says, or Day, I mean. Yeah. So anyway, well, y'all, thank you. Thanks for coming in a little later tonight. It was fun, and we'll see you next week then.
Yeah, man.
All right. This time slot worked out great, so no problems here.
And time zones time changes tomorrow, right? So it's back to daylight savings. So it's going to
Yes.
be a lot easier on our end because then we get like an extra hour, So instead of 4, it's 5.
I'll
Pacific
try to
time.
figure out what's going on with this microphone.
All righty. Okay, y'all.
All
Thank
right,
you.
everyone. Good night. Enjoy your
Peace out.
weekend.
Peace out.
Thanks so much for joining us. We love hearing your stories, so tell your friends so they can join the party. For show notes and our forum of high strangeness, visit cosmicfold.com. Remember, Cosmic Fold airs live on Wednesday and Saturday nights, so be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to know when we're on air. Thanks again and have a great evening.